I'm Sonia, sitting here in my new apartment, looking at the hospital bracelet on my wrist. I'm reminded of that fateful Friday night at the restaurant. It was my 25th birthday, and I was surrounded by the warm, inviting atmosphere of the place. The air smelled of cornbread and cedar, and a soft George Strait song played in the background. My adoptive parents, Vera and Leo, had taken me to this crowded restaurant for my birthday. Vera was wearing a fancy red dress, and Leo had on a button-down shirt with the top button fastened, looking uncomfortable as always. As we sat down, small talk filled the air, but I could tell Vera was itching to say something. Then, out of the blue, Vera smiled and said, "We only kept you for the tax benefits." 6 words that shattered the illusions of 25 years. But she didn't know that I had been preparing for this moment for 8 months. 8 months ago, Vera asked me to clear space in the basement for my cousin Lily's things. Lily was moving back to town after a breakup, and Vera left a sticky note on my apartment door. I was on my hands and knees in the basement, covered in dust, moving old Christmas decorations and Leo's hunting gear. Behind the water heater, I found a box with Vera's name written on it in faded marker. I shouldn't have opened it, but I did. Inside was a manila folder, and inside that folder, my life changed forever. There was an adoption certificate and a birth certificate with the name Baby Girl Carter. And beneath them, a receipt from a tax consultant, highlighting an adoption tax credit of $5,400. I sat on the cold basement floor for 40 minutes, evaluating every memory. Every time Vera told me how lucky I was, every time Leo avoided my questions about baby photos. I called my best friend, Mia. She picked up on the second ring, and I asked her to meet me in the parking lot behind the clinic. When Mia arrived, she read the birth certificate. She then reminded me of the DNA kit she gave me for Christmas. I had always thought I didn't need it, but that night I used it. I dropped the sealed envelope in the mailbox at 11 p.m. And then began the 6-week wait for the results. During those 6 weeks, I watched Vera and Leo with new eyes. I noticed how Vera would say, "After everything we've done for you," whenever I asked to borrow the car, and how she'd tell the neighbors that adopting me was the most selfless thing she'd ever done, but her voice was full of pride, not sacrifice. Leo would go quiet whenever Vera started that story, looking at his shoes as if they were the most interesting thing in the world. The email with the DNA results came on a Tuesday during my lunch break. I was sitting in my car, eating a granola bar, when the notification popped up. A close family match was found. It was Diana Carter, a 48-year-old nurse from Millfield, a town 2.5 hours away. She was married to Ryan Carter, 50, and they had a son, Ethan, 21. I had a brother. I tried to write an email to Diana 7 times. The first 6 were too long, too emotional. The 7th was short and to the point. I hit send before I could change my mind. 4 hours later, I got a reply. She said she had been waiting for this email for 25 years. Over the next 3 months, I visited Millfield on my days off. On my first visit, Diana's hands were shaking so much she almost dropped the casserole dish. Ryan shook my hand and said, "Welcome home, kid." Ethan showed me pictures of Diana when she was young and said I had her chin. Diana opened a small jewelry box on the kitchen counter. Inside was a faded hospital wristband, Baby Girl Carter. She had kept it for 25 years and told me she lit a candle every March 15th. 3 weeks before my birthday, Vera did something she hadn't done in 5 years. She offered to take me to dinner at the restaurant. "Just the 3 of us," she said, "and we have something important to discuss." 2 weeks before my birthday, I found a typed note on my kitchen table. The rent for my garage apartment would increase from $400 to $850 per month. If I couldn't afford it, I had to give a 30-day notice to vacate. I went to talk to Leo, but he just said Vera had her reasons and that Lily needed a place. I knew I had to be ready. I called the insurance company to find out my options if I was removed from the family plan. I learned that I'd have a 60-day window to enroll in a marketplace plan, and the cheapest plan in my area would cost around $350 per month. For days before my birthday, Vera knocked on my door, with that fake smile she reserves for special occasions. She invited me to dinner again. As soon as she left, I called Diana and told her what was going to happen. I asked them to come to the restaurant, sit separately, and wait for my signal. On the night of my birthday, I arrived at the restaurant 10 minutes early. I scanned the room and saw Diana, Ryan, and Ethan in the far corner. Diana gave me a tiny nod. Vera and Leo arrived. Vera ordered a glass of wine, Leo ordered water, and I ordered nothing. The small talk was just a formality. Vera then started her speech. She told me I was adopted and that they kept me because of the tax benefits. Now that I was 25, the benefits were over, and I had 30 days to move out. I didn't react. I had already lived through this moment in my mind 8 months ago. Vera thought I was in shock and kept going. She mentioned the tax credit of $5,400, and I calmly pointed out that I knew about it. She got angry and tried to pressure me into signing the paper she brought. I refused, calling her by her name, Vera, for the first time in 25 years. She was furious. She started bad, mouthing my real mother, Diana. That was the last straw. I reached into my bag and pulled out the envelope. Vera stared at it, asking what it was. I let the silence hang. When Vera continued to be rude and say that no one else wanted me, I knew it was time. I took out a DNA report, a photo of me with Diana, Ryan, and Ethan, and said, I found my real mother 8 months ago. Her name is Diana Carter, and she's been waiting 25 years to find me. Vera's face went blank. I then told her that Diana, Ryan, and Ethan were in the restaurant. I nodded to the corner, and they started walking towards our table. Diana stood beside me and placed her hand on my shoulder. Vera was in disbelief. She accused me of planning this to humiliate her, but I told her I just wanted to be ready for when she did what she did. The whole restaurant was watching. Vera tried to get Leo to say something, but he was silent. Ryan stepped forward and said they were there for me. Leo finally said they should go, but Vera refused to leave until I apologized. I told her I had nothing to apologize for. In the end, Leo left, and Vera was left standing alone. She looked around the room, desperate for an ally, but found none. She grabbed her purse and walked out, heels clicking on the floor. After they left, Diana, Ryan, Ethan, and I sat down to eat. Maggie, the owner of the restaurant, brought us extra place settings and said the meal was on the house. We talked, laughed, and for the first time in my life, I felt like I was part of a real family. Diana gave me the hospital wristband on a silver chain. It may have been light, but it was the heaviest and most precious thing I've ever worn. The next morning, I packed my life into 4 cardboard boxes. I called the insurance marketplace and arranged for a new plan. I left the apartment key on the kitchen counter with a note saying I was done. I visited a legal aid office in Millfield. The attorney, M.S. Harris, told me that there was no legal way to disown an adult child and that Leo had been bluffing. A few weeks later, I received my original birth certificate and the adoption record. I learned that Diana didn't voluntarily give me up. Her parents signed on her behalf when she was 22 and didn't understand the process. Now, I'm living in my own apartment in Millfield. I have a new job at a small vet clinic. Diana, Ryan, and Ethan are my family. Vera and Leo's actions didn't destroy me. They freed me. I don't hate them. I'd rather focus my energy on the people who truly love and want me. I light a candle on my kitchen windowsill every March 15th, just like Diana did for 25 years. It's a symbol of new beginnings, of a life where I'm no longer someone's tax benefit, but someone's daughter.